welcome to the Arts and Planning Division Development Program. So today we're going to talk about community engaged public art. My name is Angela Puerta. I'm a city planner for the city of Madison, Wisconsin. And today we're bringing together two powerhouse voices in public art, Deshea Agee from Milwaukee's Emem Group and Nathan Mattimoe from the Arts Commission in Toledo. So we're going to learn about other ways that we could do art within planning, and also how we incorporate many tools that they've used in the past to improve equity, identity, and civic engagement in our cities. So we're going to start with the bios. So we have Deshea Agee. He's an accomplished executive, experience in implementing public and private partnerships. His experience includes economic development, fundraising, and engagement. He serves as vice president of Emem Group, a firm specializing in real estate development, owners representation, and development consultant services. Deshea played key roles in revitalizing Milwaukee neighborhoods over 18 years. He also serves on the board of directors for Main Street America Inc. and Employ Milwaukee Inc. We also have here Nathan Mattimoe. He has worked as a project manager for over 20 years. Nathan joined the Arts Commission as the Art in Public Spaces Coordinator in 2013 and administers the City of Toledo's 1% for Art Ordinance. He has also commissioned public art projects for Metro Parks Toledo, Mercy Health Systems, ProMedica, the Ohio Department of Transportation, and Lucas County. Nathan is also a board member of the nonprofit Toledo Design Collective and chairs the committee on directors. So without further ado, I'm gonna welcome first Deshea. You please feel free to share the screen and briefly introduce yourself if you can.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Deshea Agee. I am sorry, I'm having a little internet issue now. There we go. Glad to be here with you all today. Happy to share some information with you about our Brownsville district, as well as what I call the best King Drive in the nation. I'm going to share my screen with you all now. So, can you all see anything yet?
No yet from my end. Oh, it's sharing right now. We are seeing the desktop. Perfect. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. My apologies, everyone. This conversation to me is very meaningful and important, because we who work in the space of architecture, real estate development, and the arts do not often get a chance to kind of convene. So the bio was shared. The one thing I just want to point out here, in addition to my background, is, and yours as well, you think about every role that you've had in your life, be it in the civic sector or professional sector. We carry those perspectives into our work. What got me into real estate is paying for studio time. I just needed money for studio time, and it gave me, real estate gave me an opportunity to take that passion that I have and sort of make it real in the built environment. Just wanted to share that from a background perspective, and now you'll understand why these perspectives are important. The first point that we talked about, or you probably saw as a point of interest, is integrating public art into urban planning and development. I want to speak to that. In 2005, the city of Milwaukee created the Brownsville Tax Increment District, also a redevelopment plan. Many are familiar with urban plans or redevelopment plans. And in that particular year, you will find that the city of Milwaukee created TID 59 with a small investment of about $3.3 million. And how do we see that evolve over 17 years? That the value of the district started at 5.3 million, and as of 2023, it was at 36.8 million. That's a $31 million increase in values in the district. And you'll see here, the plan was intended to create Bronzeville Cultural and Entertainment District, a geographic area specifically focused on the attraction and promotion of African-American arts, entertainment, and culture, with the intent of it being a year-round tourist destination. Today, you will see that in Bronzeville, all of what we envisioned has started to come to life and continues to come to life. But that plan wasn't enough. Thereafter, the redevelopment plan, there were subsequent plans where the city of Milwaukee, and at the time I served as the Bronzeville project manager, a position created by the city to really make Bronzeville happen. The city partnered with UW Milwaukee School of Architecture and Urban Planning to establish a few more redevelopment plans, not just in Bronzeville area, but throughout Milwaukee, called charrettes. Those charrettes identified properties that could be redeveloped, some private, some public, and ways that the community could become involved in that process. That planning effort continued in 2018 with the Transit-Oriented Development Connects initiative, which was another grant that was provided by the federal government to focus on bringing the streetcar to the Bronzeville area and also a near South Side neighborhood. All of the development that has started to take place could not be possible without champions. Communities need champions. Urban planning needs champions, and arts sector needs champions. A few of the champions are here. You can't create art and have an arts district without individuals like an alderperson, a council member. In our area, Alderwoman Malele Cox has been a champion for Bronzeville over the last, since she was elected, and I believe in 2006. So we continue, 2009. We continue on to see more artists being involved over the years. But it's not just artists, it's those real estate developers who see the vision for creating an arts district and seeing redevelopment happen in urban neighborhoods, rural and suburban neighborhoods. One of those champions we had here in Milwaukee is Welford Sanders. Welford was a professor at UW Milwaukee School of UW Milwaukee. He focused on real estate, but he also was someone who saw the importance of ensuring that spaces in the community were available. So he had a gallery that he offered to the community for regular gallery nights. So you would find the artists there, you would find musicians. It was a convening space. And those convening spaces are important because the conversations must take place in the neighborhood, particularly when you're talking about arts, but they have to carry on to other investment and redevelopment conversations with developers, with artists, with politicians, with bankers. And future conversation or point that you'll recall is a part of our key points to note is the finding or funding gaps sometimes in the art sector. But it also takes the media. It takes individuals who support the growth of districts like Bronzeville and are willing to promote Bronzeville, promote the arts on a regular basis. Here are just some images of the media that has partnered and helped to get the word out, spread the word about Bronzeville, about the arts, and why it has been important. We talk about real estate and how does arts translate to buildings and the built environment. Here are a few projects. You'll see a plan here in the middle. It says Bronzeville Cultural and Entertainment District. This was one of the original Bronzeville planning maps that identify sites that could be redeveloped. As of today, you see several of these sites are now in place. One of them being the Griot Apartments in America's Black Holocaust Museum. You will also see Gallery 507. I'll speak more about that in a short time. And currently under development is the Bronzeville Creative Arts and Tech Hub, which is a 60-unit apartment project that is in the Bronzeville commercial corridor. One of the things we at Emem Group saw as an opportunity was to include art in the real estate building that we built in partnership with General Capital. So you'll see the new Milwaukee Public Library, which opens on September 6th. That is a new project with 93 apartment units between 3 buildings. One of the ways we thought to include art was to highlight artists and essentially solicit from artists art that could be placed in various spaces in the building. It becomes a gallery. So this is a first of our kind initiative to ensure not just the artists are highlighted, but it becomes a place that those who live in the building can be inspired by the art. You'll see not just the art, but you'll see what we call healthy words that was also purchased from the artist. This one says, "Life is a gift, cherish it." So these are inspirational messages that will be throughout the building that were designed by artists. Another key topic, collaborative approaches to equitable art engagement. Starts with artists. You got to have them at the table. Here are several images going back to 2007, my time starting with Bronzeville, where we had these conversations about what can happen from 2007 up to here we are in 2025, 18 years ago. These images show artists like Amara Noir-Saroma, Dasha Kelly, Munir Bahadeen. And these are various individuals that are known in the community that really have invested time and energy and their talents to help make sure Bronzeville is alive and well. But it also translates to redevelopment of vacant properties. The city of Milwaukee started the Artist and Resource Community Hub program where they offer $25,000 to artists who buy a vacant foreclosed property that the city has and redevelop it. So you will find on the corner of Vale Phillips and Meineke, the Artist and Resource Community Hub called Homeworks. That is the actual home of Vidal Hill, an artist that is featured in the Bucks Arena and various places throughout Milwaukee, led by developer Sarah DeLayton and also artist Mikhail Floyd Pruitt is also in the building. You'll see a floor plan here, but that took, again, a process of identifying the site, engaging with artists, engaging with those who are able to fund a redevelopment of a property, and they're working on the second phase to the Artist and Resource Collaborative Hub. Bronzeville Center for the Arts. One way that they have decided to engage artists was the opening of the Gallery 507, the image that you saw a while ago. That opening took place this year, and it included artists Carla Martin, Jamie Mahan, and Rosie Petrie. Again, including artists have been at the forefront of Bronzeville, and all new developers that are coming into the area are finding ways to include arts and making sure not just that the community is engaged, but that the importance of arts is highlighted in various projects, including Bronzeville Week, which is coming up August 2nd through August 9th this year. And you'll see, this is an old calendar, but the Bronzeville Week calendar is coming soon. But to the right, you'll see letters. It starts every year with what you see at the top. The city of Milwaukee has the letters. They created the letters in order for the community to be able to come out during Bronzeville Week and start to paint the letters. Free community event, these letters change out every year. So you will see along North Avenue in the 500 block across from Gallery 507, these letters will be redone again this year. Public art is a catalyst for cultural and social narratives, how it's shaping the identity and fostering dialogue. We go back 2014, starting Bronzeville Week. And we find small crowds, small groups of folks that have been supportive of artists, but this particular event is called Paint and Sip. where we were inside of an establishment having beverages. I'll say beverages because we'll just say beverages. And we were able to have some sip and some art led by an artist. This is one of the first groups to participate in paint and sip. Again, start small and grow from there. Inside of vacant bank space, we also had small gatherings of artists, community members, residents, anyone who wanted to come and just be a part of the early Bronzeville Week, which started as really just a couple of days. Now it's 8 days of activities happening throughout the Bronzeville area. Again, you see art here, and this is prevalent throughout all of Bronzeville now. Same bank space, the crowds got bigger over time. You see images of artists like Amara, who I just mentioned, in the middle of the street on North Avenue, providing, something special for people. They can see real time art being created. That's not often the case, where you may get a caricature, but up and down the streets in Bronzeville Week, you will find this frequently, along with music. Music is important. Music is an art. I'm an artist as a musician. So we have to include all forms of art in this picture. And again, you got to reward the artist. We have contests where artists are, I won't say competing, just there's a quiet avenue of a couple of individuals going and rating the artist, and then they will be surprised to win cash and a recognition. Again, celebrate the small wins. It all starts with an idea, and you grow that idea over time. And now we're in our 13th year of Bronzeville Week. Again, music, all types. We have an art walk. We have opportunities for kids here. We have the Kool-Aid and Canvas is what this is called. You literally Kool-Aid and canvas, where kids are being able to paint on canvases. Bring the next generation to the table. That's always going to be important. Now, how do we navigate challenges in the public art implementation? You have to think outside the box. Here is Gallery 507, but while Gallery 507 was being built, Bronzeville Center for the Arts took an opportunity to have a community event on a site that they are currently in the process of redeveloping into a museum. Community engagement. First and foremost, always think community engagement. This here was led by one of the earlier artists that I mentioned as well as MIAD, Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design. Brad Bernard was the artist that led this with students from MIAD. So you're combining disciplines. These are graphic design students, these are artists, these are individuals that really care about the community, but then you just want the community at the table. So here it is, free opportunity for people to come and add their piece. If you kind of zoom in, you'll see where I painted a little bit myself. Become involved. That's going to be the key all the time. But that piece sat in storage while the building was being developed, and then we had a community event. So find those opportunities to start something and bring it back to light after, some time. We also had an opportunity to work with Michael Ford, the hip hop architect, and engage students, high school students, in not just, architecture and urban planning, but how these sectors intersect, how the art combined with architecture combines with real estate development, site and urban planning, site development. And so this here are a few images of the workshop that took place with the students led by Michael Ford and HGA Architects, which is the team that has been selected by Bronzeville Center for the Arts to work on the museum. And I just wanted to make sure, you all can have an opportunity to see some of these images. Again, Sip and Collage, another event where we are engaging community members and the arts, getting people familiar with the redevelopment of the site, and being able to find those ways to have public-private partnerships occur to really alleviate some of the funding gaps that are there. BCA funded the Sip and Collage, as well as events like the Brownsville Cabinet of Treasures, more conversations with artists, with individuals in the community about arts, culture, entertainment. Upcoming events that Brownsville Center for the Arts has, How the Blues Put Us into a Funk. This is coming up on July 17th, July 19th, and also Charkalot, taking place also on July 19th. Same day from 3 till 6:30. You'll see sidewalk art, and then you have a conversation about the blues. Again, music and art, they're all in the same space, just different forms of engagement. The site that I mentioned, Brownsville Center for the Arts, is redeveloping a 3.5-acre site on the corner of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Drive and West North Avenue. This site will be the location for the Brownsville Center for the Arts. This here is a avenue for you to scan if you would like to do so and take their surveys. You can have your input added to the conversation. Always find ways to get input. Find new ways to engage people, be it social media, be it a survey, be it a website, be it in person. These are ways that we can continue to promote the arts, promote engagement, and really make that combination of how real estate and arts intersect. Just wanted to include this last image, which is my building. My office is literally on the side of this mural. And I wanted to include that because artists in conjunction and collaboration with the local business improvement district, historic King Drive bid, who offered an opportunity for various artists to have art placed on various buildings in the district. We were fortunate enough to have Reynaldo Hernandez and his artist, his daughter, who's also an artist, paint this here. So community engaged public art is very important. Sorry, I don't know if you all hear that, but we have some flight airplanes outside that's really loud right now. We're right by, not too far from the lakefront. But I thank you all for allowing me to speak today and look forward to any questions you might have. Thanks.
Thank you, Deshea. And yes, so arts come in different shapes of form, right? So I saw that you mentioned music a lot. And, while we were preparing for this presentation, we realized that the three of us are musicians. So just, a little piece of information to the audience. And Nathan is a DJ. But anyways, we can talk about that later. So Nathan, do you want to share your presentation?
Yes, thank you. Let me share my screen here. Okay. All right, thank you again for having me. Again, my name is Nathan Mattimoe. I'm the director of the Art and Public Places program at the Arts Commission in Toledo, Ohio. We're a pretty traditional 1% for art program in our essence. We are primarily funded by the city of Toledo through capital improvement funds. 1% of the capital improvement funds every year, which goes to acquisition of new projects, which includes community engagement efforts, education efforts, and then also lots of maintenance and conservation projects, which we have a collection of close to about 150 pieces. So lots of maintenance and restoration and those things as well. I'm going to, let's see. So I've got a few slides with a bunch of words. I'm going to get through these really quickly. And then I have 4 kind of different examples of how we approach public art through the community engagement lens. Again, I mentioned we are funded by the city of Toledo. Our budget this year, our budget is $532,417. Which fluctuates with that capital improvement number. We were founded in 1977, and we are the oldest public art program in the state of Ohio. And we served as a model for the Ohio Arts Council's statewide Percent for Arts program. So we came before the state's program, which we're very proud of. I mentioned before, we have over 150 pieces in the city of Toledo's public collection. I've back up just a little bit. I've been at the Arts Commission for 13 years. I started as a coordinator, a project coordinator, and moved on to the director. We've grown the program by almost a half, 50% in the work and the funding that we've received, or that we receive. And we also work with many partners, as mentioned before, the county, Lucas County, the Metro Park System, Mercy Health, ProMedica, Lucas County. Actually, I think I just mentioned Lucas County. We've done a number of projects with those folks, and I actually have a couple examples of those. So I'm not going to read this. This is really just kind of our design review board. So every project has a temporary committee that acts to select the artist, to ultimately select a final proposal for the project, work to determine placement, siting, all the good things that go along with the planning for new public art projects. The design review boards are primarily made up of city folks, community folks that are invested in the community. We have lots of cultural centers that we partner with in neighborhoods. We always have a landscape architect, those sorts of folks. So pretty consistent. We're very policy driven, but we're also very strategic in how we partner, how we select neighbors or neighborhoods to work in, and yeah, and do a lot of planning to get to those points. So just a couple brief points on why is community engagement important in public art. It's extremely important. We can't stress that enough in the work that we do. It results in authentic representation of voices, values, and priorities of the community in that project. And it comes from those residents. Those voices come from those residents. We always want to honor and contribute to the biography and the identity of the community. And I'll also add the future of the community. What does the future of that neighborhood or that area of the city look like? It also instills a sense of ownership of the final project, which is important for making sure that the sculpture is taken care of and folks have a sense of pride in it. And then it also creates a sense of trust. And I think this is one of the more critical pieces in the commissioning body, which is typically, a governmental kind of an arm of the government of the city of Toledo. And what this does is it gives access to residents to these systems. We feel that access to policy and the decisions that are made on their behalf is really just critical to healthy communities. So we really want to play a big role in that. So I'm going to just kind of talk through like 4 studies that I feel are really just very great examples of the artist perspective and how they enter a community that they're not familiar with. How do they learn about the community, and then produce public art that represents that experience. This first project is called Closer, Closest. The artist is Randy Walker. Randy Walker is actually from Minneapolis, the Minneapolis area, and this project was completed in 2019. This was funded by the City of Toledo's 1% for Art program. I have a couple different funding sources in these projects. I just wanted to point that out. So this project is in the Close Park neighborhood. Here's just kind of an overview, a map of the neighborhood. It's a very densely populated, very active middle-class neighborhood. It's a pretty, traditional middle-class neighborhood in the city of Toledo. It is anchored by Blessed Sacrament, which is a school in our Catholic diocese, which really provides a lot of services and events and things for the neighborhood. So they're really a major anchor, and we worked really closely with them on this project as we developed it. So Randy came to Toledo. He visited a handful of times and started just kind of looking at the makeup of the neighborhood. And you can see our park is here, if you can see my cursor, and identified 400 houses within these kind of borders of the neighborhood. He then kind of reduced that to this concept of the park placing everybody, their presence in the neighborhood into this park, creating almost a data set that is really directly representative of the residents. You can see his concepts. These are slides from his proposal, actually. So placing everybody in the park, which is really a main hub. There's a baseball diamond that's very well used. There's a path that folks walk their dogs. There's a playground. So it's a very well used park. And then plopped it in this little space along a path that bisects the park to create this little, this kind of small, intimate play space. Here's a rendering, another rendering of what the project ended up looking like. So we did a number of events. We actually, through our partners at Blessed Sacrament, had a mailing list of almost every house, every of those 400 houses in the neighborhood. We sent out postcards and did a number of workshops. We did coloring exercises with the kids. You know, my vision of Close Park is, what do you like to do in the park? We had a number of just convenings of where we invited the council person from the district and residents to talk about the project. We did fun activities of connecting houses to the park, that sort of thing. And really engaged a neighborhood, residents in a neighborhood that frankly, we had not had a lot of experience in. We've never really done we've done very few projects in this area of Toledo. So we had to learn as we went along ourselves. So each poll, there's 400 polls. They all represent a house in the neighborhood. We did a survey where folks were invited to pick a color and pick a height of the poll, and the height of the poll represents somebody's height in that household. So most of them were young people. Excuse me, the heights range from about 2.5, 3 feet to about 6 feet. So again, creating this kind of interesting abstract data set of the neighborhood. And the picture before was it's kind of a installation photo. I like to show that because we did install that in the winter. In the snow, which you just kind of have to do what you need to do to keep these projects on schedule. But here's just a wonderful image of the final result. So you can see this really just whimsical, fun play area that just really just represents the neighborhood in a fun, and again, almost statistical. It's almost like a graph or bar graph or something like that. So great project, and it's the neighbors just really love it. So moving on to the next project, and I apologize if I'm kind of moving fast. I think I'm trying to jam in a bit too much into this presentation, so I'm going to see how this goes. But the next project was something we did in 2020. This was funded by Mercy Health System. They have 3 hospitals in our area. And they're the biggest hospital system in the state of Ohio. This project is located in the Cherry Street corridor, much different neighborhood than our Close Park neighborhood. Cherry Street corridor is a pretty traditionally low income neighborhood. It's traditionally underserved in that sense. There's a lot of folks that have pretty low household income. I think it's an average household income of about $24,000 per house. So a lot of challenges in the neighborhood. There's been they were really hit hard, excuse me, by the housing crisis in like 2016, 2017, and you can see, here's a map of the neighborhood, and you can see a lot of vacant lots, right? So these all were houses at one point that fell into disrepair, foreclosure, those sorts of things. Here is our site. So this is a roundabout that was built about 3 years prior to our project, so about 2017, 2018. This whole area was completely rebuilt. This was kind of a mess of different crossroads. And these roundabouts were built with lots of infrastructure improvements, ornamental walls and gates and things like that, identifiers of the neighborhood, signage for the neighborhood. The city approached us and said, "Hey, we'd love to do a sculpture on the roundabouts." And it just was not great timing for us. And then we were approached by Mercy Health, who wanted to make an investment in the neighborhood through public art. So we kicked off the project. We did a call for artists and selected RDG Delquist. They are out of Des Moines, Iowa. And here's a picture of one of the handful of community engagement meetings that we held with the artists. The artists were really looking to mine the concepts from the neighborhood. There's not like clear identifiers. There's a lot of challenges in the neighborhood, and they were looking for a way to celebrate it, but also address, the existing conditions of the neighborhood. So lots of great meetings. Some of these were, a little bit contentious. There's folks that, are really frustrated with the lack of, attention to social issues in the neighborhood. Infrastructure is great, but the social issues are really the things that people deal with every day. So again, here's a larger blown up kind of map of the entire neighborhood. We are over here in this corner up here, but I wanted to show you this because this image is really what struck the artists. They started noticing the patterns and the macro of the neighborhood and how this is creating this really pattern that could be used in a public art piece. So they took the plat of the neighborhood and kind of reduced it, abstracted it. These are all the houses and buildings that are in this area. Every single building is represented, and you have the hospital system, you have high schools, you have every really house and anchor institution in the neighborhood is represented. So they also were interested in the culture of Mercy Health, and they were founded by the Grey Nuns, which was a group, an order of nuns that were in the area that were interested in healthcare and providing services to neighborhoods. And their kind of their main symbol is the daisy. So the artist kind of abstracted that daisy petal, and you can see how the layout of the neighborhood is employed in the kind of texture. All these shapes were cut out of the panels of the sculpture. So here's a really great rendering of kind of, it really looks exactly like this. I'll show some photos here in a second, and you can see the kind of abstraction of the daisy petal, the yellow of the center of the daisy, and then the representation of all of the buildings in the neighborhood in the kind of surface of the sculpture. I love showing installation pieces. It's just such a huge part of the project. They don't just appear. They're installed by lots of great contractors, and many of them local that we work with. And here's just kind of a really great glamour shot that shows some of that infrastructure that I was talking about. So it's really become this beacon of light, this lantern, this really symbol of hope for the neighborhood. Funny story, this was actually hit by a truck about 2.5 years ago, and it's currently being restored and will be reinstalled in about 2 months. So unfortunately, this was hit actually in a police chase. Was hit by a car going 100 miles an hour down Cherry Street. So another big part of the work we do is again maintenance and taking care of the collection. Next project is really just, this may be just the epitome of how community engagement can inform and really be the result of the public art process. This is a project called Field of Histories by an artist, Brian E. Roberts. This was just completed last year, and it was funded by Metro Parks Toledo as part of a multi-million dollar, $30 million riverfront project. It's called the Glass City River Walk. It's a 5-mile trail that goes from bridge to bridge along our Maumee River. And this was one of the first nodes of that project, which is the Glass City Metro Park. Glass City Metro Park is it's an incredible project. This could be a whole presentation in itself. This project, or I'm sorry, this park is over on the east side of Toledo. They're pretty underserved, slightly neglected, low-income neighborhood. It's on the other side of the river from really the rest of the city, and it's it's created a lot of issues because of that. But this park is really just brought the it's really hard to explain the impact that this park has had on the neighborhood, not just the city. It includes this, you see this ice skating ribbon, which is used for roller skating in the summer. There's these wonderful, huge, just fantastic playgrounds. You can see this, it's right on the riverfront, right across the Maumee River from our downtown. And then you see these just really great like boardwalks and just restoration projects that are a part of it. Just an incredible park. They're one of their board members actually, who is he's a major donor for the Metro Park system, approached us and say, "Hey, I'd like to do a public art project in the Glass City Metro Park." We're like, "Yeah, that's great. Let's do it." So they invested $400,000 into this project. And so again, we did an RFQ, selected an artist out of a pool of 5 proposals. The artist came to Toledo, met with residents, met with our staff, Metro Park staff, to really get a good feel for the neighborhood and the park. So what you're seeing here are the resulting workshops. So what we did is we invited everybody in the city, but really focused on the residents of the East Side to come to a series of workshops where we asked them to bring items of historic significance. It could be personal, it could be tied to Toledo industry, which we have a rich history of Jeeps and glass and spark plugs and scales and a number of different things that were invented and manufactured in Toledo. Those objects were photographed by volunteers. You see Scott Carpenter here, who's a great partner at the Metro Parks. We photographed each object, and the objects were then 3D rendered by the artist, and then they were laser engraved in glass spheres. And you can see an example here. And this is actually a cut glass Libby glass goblet that was used as an example. So then, again, more pictures of the workshops. Here's the magic of this project. Bringing these residents together with these objects of history to talk about their families, their history, what they mean, to share those stories. We documented all of the stories. We had them create narratives for each of the pieces. So it just really created these wonderful community events where folks just wanted to share about these objects and what they mean to them. So yeah, again, those objects were laser etched in those spheres. They were mounted. We ended up with 175 of them mounted on poles, and then they're illuminated. So 175 objects were placed in this field in the park, and each object is unique, and we really made sure that if you participated, you were represented at least once in the installation. So some folks brought 3 objects. We made sure that everybody that participated was represented. This was the dedication. We had over 200 people show up to this dedication, which was just incredible for us. That was definitely the most well-attended dedication we've ever had. Here you see the ribbon cutting with the artist and our team and some of our committee members. and it was an ice cream social. So just a really wonderful event. Here's the other really cool thing that came out of this. So the Metro Parks put together a website that has every single object that was submitted. You see a photograph of every object, the individual that submitted it, and what it is. And then if you click on the object, it actually goes to those narratives. So at the same time, we created a database or an archive of historical objects that can be researched, that can be viewed on this website. Just really just a fantastic project. Here you can see a detail of one of the objects. We don't really have great photos yet. The landscape is still establishing. It doesn't look great right now, so some of these photos aren't great. So I do apologize for that. We're hoping to have some professional photography done in the fall when the grass comes in a little better. So yeah. Okay, last project. And this one, this was just installed last week, last Monday. So a week ago, last Monday. Yeah, another really just fantastic artist, Cecilia Lueza. Again, a request for qualifications. We had 5 finalists for this project. I want to talk about the finalists and the proposals for a second. We really made sure that the residents of this neighborhood, the Old South End, again another low income neighborhood in the city of Toledo, had a major voice in selecting the final piece for this project. So we did, once we had the 5 proposals, we did charrettes, we had voting stations at the libraries, there's 2 libraries that are close to the neighborhood, at a couple of the restaurants. We got like 200 responses to that, and used all that information to help really select the installation that you see here, which is called Kaleidoscopio. And again, Cecilia Lueza is the artist. She's from St. Petersburg, Florida, Argentine-American artist, and just created these really wonderful butterfly-themed sculptures for the neighborhood. This neighborhood is very mixed. It's very diverse. It is low income, but it does have a number of Latin American cultural institutions and restaurants. So there's a lot of Latin American themes, Hispanic themed murals. You can see some of that in some of these images kind of up here. We really wanted to celebrate not only that culture, but the colors that are represented and the kind of the history of the neighborhood.
Thank you, Nathan.
Yeah.
And I want to allow the audience to ask us questions, maybe for
Okay,
10 minutes. Sorry about that. I don't mean to interrupt.
that's okay. I'm
But,
sorry
and
I'm
by
taking
the
so long.
way, I know, amazing projects. And if you could share your email address, same as Deshea, if you can share the email address, people, if we don't get to all the questions, which I'm sure we will not, they can send you the questions via email, if that's okay. So the first question that we have is related to the park in Toledo, the first project that you talked about, Nathan,
Mhm.
about the actual community dialogue. So the person, Paula, is asking, how you would define community engagement, given that this was more like data-driven type of artwork. So if you could share that, that would be great.
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's different for every project. And I think this one was again, I mentioned we weren't really familiar with this neighborhood. We have never worked there. It's funny, my dad's family grew up in the neighborhood, so I have a lot of family connection. So we really started with, hey, we want to do a project in this park. Let's start with some conversation about what do you, just to learn more about the use of the park, and to introduce the concept of public art to the neighborhood, and why we're doing it, and how we think it can and be representative. And I'll admit there was some pushback at first. Folks didn't understand, but it was really through a series of events, and I'll say the other trick to this one was really we partnered with great leadership in the neighborhood that already had a lot of trust from the residents, and they were on the committee, the design review board, and they were able to join us for every meeting. So it's really about establishing that trust. And before you even start, showing proposals and introducing artists. And I think once the artists were introduced, I think the folks started to get it, and through that dialogue with the artists, and to help develop those projects. Yeah, and I think the playground concept was really what kind of they gravitated towards. So it was really just a lot of conversation and just that trust building to get to that part,
Thank you.
Yeah.
We also have a lot of questions regarding budget. So budget for the vessel, also for the, there is another one for a field of stories or of histories. Sorry, if you could expand on that. How was the budget? How do you guys get the money?
Yeah, the vessel was 200,000 total. And Field of Histories was 400,000. And Field of Histories was contract work for us, so we did get paid a fee to coordinate that project, which was I think 14% of the total budget. So yeah, 400 total was for kind of all in for that project.
Okay, so the other question that we have is regarding the Dalkist work. How did the design or conceptual direction evolve based on input from residents themselves?
Yeah, I think I kind of glazed over that. That's a great question. I think the residents were tasked with helping to identify, to help to develop the identity or something that the artist could represent. So they really were just like, it's just about the neighborhood. It's about our, it was really simple and almost abstract in that sense. It's a very culturally diverse neighborhood, and I think they just really wanted that kind of literal representation of it's almost like a historical representation of the neighborhood at that time, through all the changes that it's going through. Lots of conversation on that one though, and lots of great community meetings. We attended others' community meetings, got on their agendas, which I think is really important as well, to just be a part of efforts that are already taking place in neighborhoods.
Yeah. And we also have another question regarding local artists. So it seemed like you outsource the designers and creatives. So how much work have you done with local artists?
Yeah, we do a lot with local artists. I know that they're not represented in my presentation. We do have a challenge with recruiting community-minded artists in Toledo. We just don't have a lot of folks that have that experience, but we're working on sharing those experiences not only with the artists that are visiting Toledo, but through workshops. And then we're also I have a couple new projects that are very, very neighborhood based, very history based, that we're going to start creating teams. So it may be an artist that comes in from another community, but we'll have a team of local artists that of different backgrounds that will then be part of that project. But we have a whole suite of projects that we're developing to not only grow local artists, but to help support them as well. So yeah, that's a great question though.
Yeah, and we have another question, but maybe Deshea can help us with this. So what measures have been taken to ensure that these investments in low-income neighborhoods don't contribute to displacement?
Yeah, I think there's two ends to that. Some would say displacement, some would call it gentrification. So I'm glad someone used displacement as the proper word for that. Gentrification just being investment into the neighborhood. People will look at it that way, but displacement in the Bronzeville area in particular, there is and has been an effort that the city put forth as things were changing in the neighborhood surrounding Bronzeville, just adjacent to downtown, whereby residents could apply for a funding source that was that would look at their taxes at a certain point in time and be able to help with the cost of taxes that increase beyond that. So there have been some, national studies of, gentrification / displacement in neighborhoods. And, it's hard to kind of monitor when people make an investment, buy a property, make an investment, and then try to flip it, and that sometimes happens in neighborhoods. But I do think that the arts in particular, and in the Bronzeville area, and tools like the Artist Resource Community Hub are, avenues that allow for development to continue to happen without, displacing those who have historically been in the neighborhood.
Thank you, Deshea. And last question to you as well. Were any of the mixed use developments that you showed art space developments as well?
Specifically art space, no, but I will say that there have been a number of organizations that recognize the arts in general and have made investments, like a business improvement district, Greater Milwaukee Foundation, so various foundations, various organizations like artists working in education, business improvement districts. So when you think of some of the developments in general, that's most of the time is going to be a private sector developer, but those private sector developers are finding value in pulling the artists in for the art to be shared with those who live in that facility. And that's what I've seen happen, more so frequently in recent times. General Capital has another project where they work with artists to have their art work with this guy named Brandon Minga, House of Rad. I don't know if anyone has heard of them, but House of Rad is a organization that specifically works with artists. We work with Brandon on the MLK Library project, where we were able to put together some agreements where we get rights to use the art, but we also pay for the art. But we allowed for the artists to continue to sort of sell that art that they have at the rate that they want, but we work with them to have it created as a digital vinyl so that we can use the art. Again, just some creative tools out there sharing with y'all. If you all are not in a position to buy the specific art, or you're doing a mixed use development and you're sensitive about the art continuing to be in the form that the art should be in and protected, there are avenues like digital rights printing that could be used in a mixed use development to, again, support the artists. And what we're going to do with the MLK Library art that we have not only promoted, we're going to help the artists sell that art through our website. So there are things you can do to make, to utilize art, to allow it to be an inspiration for those who live in the mixed use building, but also ensure that the artists do receive the value that they see in the art. Certain pieces we saw, $1,500, $3,000. Our budget for mixed use development may not allow for that, but it did allow for us to pay a digital rights use. And from there, again, the artist can sell that piece.
Thank you so much for that answer. And thank you both for presenting and sharing your time with us. Thank you, everybody, for attending to this session. Again, if you haven't been part of our division, please, my colleague Jen shared the link where you can find all our information and join our division, Arts and Planning. And yeah, this concludes the session. So thank you so much and have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you.